Hey guys, Buttsman 945 here. Welcome back to another video. Today, almost done with the top 20 movies, and in this video, I want to push through, do 3, 2, 1, how long the video ends up being. So, in the last video, I just spent 33 minutes talking about 5 and 4, which were A Beautiful Mind and Inception. And my number three is Avengers Endgame. And man, this movie is so utterly fantastic. Um, to start with, it's such a good follow-up to Infinity War, which is the main thing I think I was judging this movie as when I first watched it. Um, and it definitely delivers. It handles every single aspect of like every character disappearing extremely well. Um, and it also really takes the time to in the beginning section of the movie. Uh, sorry about that. I had to blow my nose. Oopsies. Got to what's that? Okay. Anyway, in the first part of the movie, I love how it takes the time to explore the emotions of each character. I think it does that really well. Um, it kind of collectivizes some of the more side characters, which is fine, but like the main characters, it really like the attention to detail is like immaculate in the first part of the movie. Uh, In particular, I want to highlight Captain America. I think that the way they do about it is like we lost. I think that's very powerful for his character specifically because I feel like he was always the one that was like we can't lose, everything rides on this. Like he was always like the um like chief like champion of hope that they would succeed. So Iron Man is like the best of these, because he's basically like, oh my God, like what, like this could have been prevented. Like I offered a solution to this, and like that, and like his dialogue with Cap is really, really good. Like that reference to Age of Ultron is really, really cool. I really like that. Um, And then Thor's character, especially, and like his fear of failure to Thanos, is I think also really powerful. Um, and the fact that we don't get much dialogue from him in the beginning, I think, also says a lot. Uh, but like the Great Lebowski thing is just really funny. But I also think that it's a very like interesting direction for Thor's character, and I like it a lot actually. Um, so then we kind of get into the middle phase of the movie where it's basically the time machine subplot, which um I actually think works really well. I like the time travel part of it. I think the mechanics of it are actually executed extremely well. And everything that like makes logical sense. And I love that we get to explore each of the different perspectives a lot, like between Bruce Banner's like kind of almost philosophical discussion about like the science of the time stones and Doctor Strange's actions is like super duper interesting, and the CG looks really good on that. With the astral projection, I think it's called. Looks really solid on that. Tilda Swinton is weird as ever, but that's why she's the ancient one because that fits. Um, and uh, man, the amount of nostalgia you get from just seeing like all the Avengers like that, that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. And then the humor about like Captain America's like suit parts and and like smashing things is really really funny. Uh, Additionally, I think uh that um I find the scene where they infiltrate the Avengers Tower to be super super entertaining. Um, and like how Ant-Man pulls the cord in his armor, I think that's really funny. Um, then there's also the part where, um, oh yeah, Cap takes the, the Loki's staff and and that reference, the Hail Hydra thing in the elevator, that is absolutely awesome. Like even the exact same dialogue, like the Bucky Rumble, I was so there for that. I thought that was awesome. I love that reference to Winter Soldier. Um, I also think um, Hulk's thing is really funny. And just how Loki steals the Tesseract, I think that's really, really funny. And then we transition to the stuff in space. The Asgard thing, I like that Thor gets to see his mom. I think it's a very, like, uh, nice resolution to their relationship and a lot of Thor's sadness. And also, obviously, his jokes about the beer is really, really funny. But also, like, how he's just, like, afraid of Jane, I think is also, like, really, really, like, it has, like, a subtle layer to it that's just really, really interesting that I appreciate a lot. Um, and then like he gets Mjolnir, which is also awesome. I like that a lot. Um, and then we get to um the the well, Morag, yeah. Um, where they just like knock out Peter Quill and just call him an idiot because like he's just dancing to the music without the music playing in the background. That's hilarious. um, I really, really enjoyed that. And then there's the Vormir stuff. And man, oh man, just like its predecessor, Vormir somehow manages to be like one of the best scenes in the whole movie. Like, my God, it's incredible. They literally like use all the same like music and plot beats, and yet it's works because like it really plays on how close friends Nat and Hawkeye are. Um, and And I think that like their constant struggle also reflecting like I didn't even talk about this, but like Hawkeye's character in the beginning of the movie, just like how he like feels devastated for his family and how like Natasha helped him through that and how this like culminates that relationship is like it's so well written. Uh it's like perfection basically. Uh I basically think these top three movies are like perfect. And I just like them one better than the other, honestly. And that's the only reason why they're not all like tied for first place. Um, um, yeah, that scene is very, very emotional, and just how like he cries and just that he gets the soul stone. That's super, super emotional. And then the stuff about Nebula is also very, very cool. I like the relation, the like type of caricature that Nebula is shown trying to prove herself. I think that's very interesting and very on character. I also like um you can really tell like the past version of Gamora and how she changes, which I think is also very, very interesting. Um, and like how Thanos just figure out all the details and just corrects people. I think that's super awesome too. Um, Speaking about Thanos, I want to do this separately. Um, what I love, like while he's like introduced and like fully characterized in Infinity War, what I love about him in this movie in particular, and this is why he's like my favorite movie villain of all time, another aspect of it anyway, is like in this, we get to see like how he actually fights with his armies and with his sword and armor, and I think that's awesome. Uh, and it also like gives him the role of being kind of that main antagonist that didn't really need much development because he already had it. And so I think the combination of that just worked really, really well. And I really, really enjoyed that. And that's one of the many, many reasons why Thanos is my favorite villain of all time is because of that like um different type of caricature that he's given in this movie. Uh, then eventually like stuff happens. 'Cause I think that's like basically the middle of the movie. Well, the part on the base, I like the part where I think Cap like doing the mailman thing was funny, and like his seeing Peggy is very like emotional, and then I also really enjoy like the fact that Tony encounters his dad. I think that's super super unique and makes for a great character moment and just like the way Jarvis is like nice touch. By the way, that's a really nice touch. And his butler was actually named Jarvis, but like, Jarvis is like, we know him. And I really enjoy all that part. Anyway, now getting to the final act, which is the big juicy thing. Obviously, like, there are so many absolutely awesome moments. Like the 3-on-1 fight, I feel like doesn't get enough praise because that is like epic. Between Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America and Thanos. Uh, that's super epic. I really, really love that. And how he just basically completely destroys all of them. Um, and then the way that like Cap wields Mjolnir, like man, I obviously it's a fan service moment, but goddamn, I'm here for it. That was freaking awesome. I love that. And then obviously the portal scene comes, everyone in the theater cries. I'm just kidding about that part, but um, like that was so freaking awesome. Like all the different like characters and the portal song itself is such a banger. And then they just go like Avengers Assemble, like obviously. There's not much more I can say about it because it's like iconic and it's awesome and like I love it and so does everyone else. And that's basically how I'm going to summarize this third act of the movie because yeah, it's awesome and they know it's awesome and the amount of fan service moments are hilarious and it's done really well and all the action is so cool and there's so many like little moments in here like all the female characters just like charging Thanos and especially Scarlet Witch doing that as Thanos is like, I don't even know who you are. And it's like, you know, they just like beats his ass is like so cool. uh, and then just the way that Captain America not Captain America, Captain Marvel comes in, just like through the ship. Uh, and I mean the whole thing is so freaking awesome. And then of course like near the end when Doctor Strange, I was when I saw that I was like, ooh, I was like, yes, let's go. Oh, excuse me. Um, and then of course there's um and I am that was so awesome. I love that. And like Tony Stark's death was handled perfectly, perfectly. And and then the ending of the movie is just incredible, obviously. Like Cap giving the shield to Sam, that was like so emotional and that meant a lot. I really enjoyed that. Uh, um, and also, just like the amount of little moments in here, like between Hawkeye and Wanda and um, like they both are like referencing like Wanda and Vision, like looking on like beyond is really nice. Um, and then of course Tony's funeral scene is the way that's jam packed with the references, just like the actor for the little guy, Harley, I think his name is, from Iron Man 3, is like extra nice touch. And then Nick Fury, that made me lose my shit because I love Samuel L. Jackson. Um, and yeah, I think that's about it. And obviously the action and the music and everything go top notch. Music took me an Oscar, but it didn't. Excuse me. One second. Okay. Sorry about that. My nose going real bad. Had to spin it. Well, I thought, oh no, crap out of it. So that was number three, Avengers Endgame, clocking in at 19 minutes. Nice. um, at number two, one more again. Number two is Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Obviously, like, uh, Fellowship of the Ring was like number 17 and to two cows is number 13. This is number two. um, uh, where do I even start? Um, so to begin with, every single character I think in this movie is absolutely perfect. Like Aragorn, perfection. Like his leadership and his I'm gonna try to do a quick summary here. Aragorn, his leadership and his bravery. Um, um, his thing with the King of the Dead, leading that, and his sword fighting was so awesome, and him becoming king, all those are amazing. I love Aragorn. Pippin in this movie becoming a lot braver, um, and like learning and um basically growing his confidence and courage. I absolutely love that. And realizing the like honor and duty I think is really really cool. I like that a lot. Um, and then Mary learning to basically Mary grows a lot as a character too because they have to learn to be separate, so they like grow a lot as separate characters. And then obviously Frodo and Sam's relationship is great. Both of them are amazing. Frodo's struggles are like masterfully one second. Oh, stuffing nose is killing me. Anyway, I love Frodo and Sam's relationship, and I think that Frodo's like his struggles and basically just like where he like basically like is basically to the point of succumbing to the ring, like masterfully like demonstrated, and how like Sam continues to be the voice of hope, and Frodo continues to be like the voice of doom, not of his own will. I think that like contrasting dynamic is done the best in this movie as well, especially near the final act. Um, when they're like climbing the mountain and stuff like that. Um, and a little bit earlier, but oh my God, one of the best moments in the whole film is easily when um one of my favorite movie scenes ever actually is that scene where like Sam Frodo tells Sam to go home, and man, that is wrought with so much emotion. And like basically, like Sam's heroics as like he basically just goes on his own killing orcs is so also really really awesome. Him with Sting is super duper cool. I love that. Um, um, stuff else. Um, on top of everything else, with that, like the thing at the very end between the two of them, where like Frodo finally succumbs and just like puts on the ring, like man, there's almost this feeling of like utter hopelessness when that happens, but thankfully that's not the case. But like there's almost to that point, and I think that's like super super awesome. I love that. Um, and then shifting gears back to Gollum, like the obviously I think that his character richness is deeper in the Two Towers, but he's still my favorite character of the trilogy here. Um, and I think that like the way that he's just succumbing to the evils and like the best part about Gollum's character isn't really himself, but the way that he's like slowly like pushing Frodo over the edge is like so malicious and devious, just like his entire character. Kind of like the Thanos argument. Like I feel like in the Two Towers he's introduced and characterized really, really well. And then in this movie, he's this antagonist that moves the plot forward and like has amazing character relationships. Uh, that's the best way I can describe why I like Gollum in this movie. And obviously, man, the flashback scene for Gollum at the very beginning of the movie is like, man, that's such a good scene, and like the way that scene manages to use like Wyatt without like with a lack of music is like it's crazy because it almost shows like this insanity of Gollum. And basically once he's got the ring, he's already past the point of no return. Uh, Moving down the list, Legolas and Gimli are hilarious in this movie. I love how their like friendship is paid off at the very end, like side by side with an elf. How about side by side with a friend? I love that. That's very like pays off very well. And then the two of them, their duo is also really, really funny throughout the course of the entire movie. And both of their action stunts are really, really good. I love that. Um, I love Theoden in this movie. Again, using the same argument, I feel like in the Two Towers, he's like really characterized, and then in this film, he's like seriously like this powerful force, and like I also think it's super interesting. Like I feel like his maybe should have been dealt on a little bit more. Um, But I also really, really enjoy like that little bit that we get, like, why should we help them when they didn't need a bus? Uh, because I do think it's a little jarring, like how he kind of switches. But they had to move the plot along, so like I can't even fault them for that. Um, I used to be very conflicted on Denethor specifically, but I also think that he is actually a pretty interesting character. Even if he's very unlikable on screen, like I understand the kind of deeper presence that he serves within the story because he's this terrible father who's like a golden child dude. But then like when he finally dies, he realizes like, oh my God, I have been a terrible father. I'm like, I don't actually love my son, but I need someone to succeed me, and now I don't, so I'm gonna go kill myself. um, I'm gonna bring my not dead, but not quite alive either yet son with me because I don't know that he's alive and I'm stupid. And I think also just like I think the best part about Denethor is just how like absolutely ruthless he is and his role in Faramir's character development. And I think also that part of Faramir's character is very, very interesting, and I also like his relationship with Pippin. Gandalf in this movie is awesome as the White Wizard. He does a lot of awesome things. Um, I'm not the hugest fan of Eowyn. Uh, mm, and the one thing that I consistently hate about all three of these movies is definitely the romance between her and Aragorn, or or the even reference to it. I think is so stupid and not deserved. But like beyond that, I like what Eowyn does in this movie and killing the King of the Nazgul. I think that's cool and like establishing her like father-daughter type relationship with Theoden is also nice. Um, Eomer in this movie is awesome. Like he's not the deepest of characters, but like he just has awesome action to it. Like the way he just throws his spear and kills one of the Haradrim elephants is like Oliphants, sorry, is very, very awesome. Um, trying to think, is it like a summary of all the major characters? I do go really in depth in my Lord of the Rings character tier list. Like my character tier list are where I really get in depth and talk about why I love the characters. I was just giving like a quick summary about how like perfect every character basically is in this film. Um, so now there are specific segments I want to highlight. In particular, one I haven't done yet is the King of the Dead scene. I think this is one of the best scenes in the whole film, and I think it's critically, like criminally actually underrated, honestly, because I feel like uh I mean the dialogue is so cool and just like his kind of like reluctance to fight and like the idea of like oaths and I think all that is super interesting and I love the King of the Dead too. Uh, and then of course I think I think that was the only major because I've already highlighted everything else and every like other major character I think. And so I think finally it's time to talk about the final act. And like just like Endgame, like I love it. Everyone loves it. It's perfect. Like not any more needs to be said. Um, I think the five endings argument is complete BS because like okay, it doesn't like maybe the movie doesn't stop and the credits don't roll at that point, but like who cares? It just means you can see more of the movie. I think that argument is completely ridiculous, by the way. Like people say that that's the only flaw with this movie. I don't believe in that flaw at all because like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like so what if the movie doesn't end there? So what if it takes like a bajillion years in. It just means you're gonna get more enjoyable Lord of the Rings like character moments from it. Uh, just a little mini rant that argument, the fact that people find that that's like the one flaw with this movie is like driving crazy because like it's just not like applicable at all, and it's just dumb. Um, and And obviously, like every single scene and like the mass fighting is awesome, and like the siege on the city and stuff. Like I love everything with that. Um, and also how it takes the time for the little moments, like that moment between Gandalf and Pippin as they're like before the Rohirrim arrive, as they're like, uh, as they're like about to as they're about to like reach the second gate. That little moment is very nice. And then the hero arrive. That's freaking awesome. And then the Raja are also really cool. And then Aragorn just shows up, the King of the Dead, just obliterates everybody. Um, So then, like, all the battles conclude. We have that incredible bit between Frodo and everything about that. Like I've already kind of explained, is just like masterfully done. I think. Um, I really love all those parts. Um, and then like all the bits at the end where they like recover and all the characters and that scene where like everyone like comes in and music and everything. That scene is awesome. Like when Frodo wakes up in the bed, I love that. Um, and also that little detail of like when Frodo sees Sam and like his smile disappears and it's kind of like apologetic. I think that little detail is like crazy. The detail is even better than Endgame, honestly. Um, and then man, like the pure like satisfaction and payoff around the fact like obviously like everything about Aragorn being crowned king. I just had like that, but that keeps on elected. That's weird. But uh the different payoffs like between him with Legolas and like Aemir and everyone bowing and then him with Arwen that is finally paid off is very nice. I liked it a lot. Um and then just like when they come to the hobbits and like everyone bows to the hobbits and you can just hear concerning hobbits in the background like that's one of the most powerful moments in the whole movie because like everyone knows that they were the true heroes of the entire trilogy, basically. Um, and it knows that, and that is awesome. I love that. And then just like the way that it ends with like Frodo and everyone else like going off the ship, I think that's super super emotional. And how it just ends with Sam like getting married and everything like that. I love that. I just love everything in this movie, like more so than Endgame, which is why it's my number two. It's just perfection. Uh, an additional 19 minutes. Nice. It's gonna be such a long video. I don't care because I want to push it. And it's not gonna be as long as top 10 TV show characters, I don't think. Um, at number one is Avengers Infinity War. And I'm just going to start like from the very beginning. This immediately would have been like top 30 for just like the introduction alone. Like, oh my God, the introduction of Thanos is so awesome, and the music and his dialogue is like crazy because it's incredibly meaningful, and the whole tone of the thing is dark, and like Ebony Maw's like introduction is also really, really freaking awesome. Um, Just like how come like the fact that they didn't even bother with like showing like him invading the ship in the first place, like that just also helps show the sheer complete like hopelessness of the situation. And additionally, um, like Heimdall's one line is awesome, and it's kind of a nice payoff to like the regret that his character felt in Ragnarok. So I very much enjoyed that. And oh my God, Loki's death, that was insane. and the and that reference that Thanos says like no more uh uh I can't remember the line. It was like no more something uh like yeah, basically meaning this time he's actually dead, which was like crazy. And then just like Thor's just pure emotion and just like basically how he just like can't say anything. And rewinding a little bit, like just how the Hulk just gets like completely just beat up, like mercilessly like beat down is just like kind of insane actually, and it just shows already the sheer power that Thanos has even without Infinity Stones, and it's like absolutely crazy. Just like how hopeless and like they're already setting the tone for the fact that this entire movie is actually does actually end in tragedy. Uh, they're already like preparing for that by setting this crazy dark tone. It, literally based on this introduction scene alone, like I said, this would be like top 30, top 25. Like, it's crazy. So then we come to Earth, and Doctor Strange and Wu are all really, really cool. I very much enjoy that, and that entire scene is really funny. It's littered with jokes. Um, and like Iron Man's thing with Pepper, I really like, and then just them like conversating as they explain the origin of the stones. That's all very, very interesting. Um, and witty. And then like their battles with like the members of uh the Thanos' servant dudes. I forget the name of them, but like the group or whatever, the Black something. But all that action is really, really awesome, and like Spider-Man comes in, and all that action is incredibly entertaining. So just seeing like Iron Man's nanotech suit and just how like no matter what spell Doctor Strange tries on Nemo, basically just wrecks him. I really like that, and it's obviously filled with a ton of witty dialogue, which is really, really cool. Um, and then eventually they kind of like go up to the spaceship, uh, and then it cuts to Guardians of the Galaxy, which all the stuff with the Guardians and them finding Thor is like the funniest crap in the whole movie. And there's also like a lot of emotion to it as like Thanos and Gamora kind of understand each other. Oh my god, it's just making me laugh thinking about like the Star Wars bit where he like matches his voice. The comedy in this movie is absolutely on point, and I will continually say that this is one of the funniest Marvel movies. It's way funnier than Endgame, and like the humor and the amount of completely memorable jokes are just so incredibly underrated. Um, so then the hunt for the stones commences, and we get the Guardians going to nowhere, and that entire thing is like really cool because like it actually like develops the romance of uh uh Quill and Star Lord and Gamora. And Gamora is one of my favorite characters in this movie. Like just the amount of intense emotional development she gets is insane. Um, And and obviously that scene also has like Guardians humor in it. Uh, and just like in that one the scene like literally just how Thanos like fucking states that reality is literally just exactly what it fucking is, but now it can be like exactly what we want is like insane, and I was not expecting that bit of dialogue at all. Um, then I don't know the exact like order of things. Um, by the way, this is just a complete like side thing, but in the DVD for Infinity War, um, which I used to have before it came on Disney Plus, so I watched it like so many times. Is like in the like play screen, there's just this sequence where like a ton of characters go like, and it's really fun. Um, anyway, that was a completely random tangent. I don't know why I said that, but oh well, I did. Uh, and, uh, anyway, enough of spoilers. Anyway, we're cutting to the part where Thor and Rocket, what is the name? The I haven't seen it in a while. The lines for the place. Um, I gotta look that up. It was Nidavellir. That was the name of it. I just looked it up. Uh, and basically like we get a lot of like really intense characterization for Thor and just like how he loses everybody and just like how like grief is his like motivation is like very powerful. I love that. Um we'll come back to the contents of the scene a little bit later on. For now, they're back in the ship, and Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and everything. That scene is really funny with like the Princeton aliens, which I've never seen. But that's really funny, and like, and also the expressiveness of the cape of the cloak of levitation is really funny. Um, and how and their like dialogue between him and Doctor Strange, like Doctor Strange say what his priorities are, I think is very interesting. Um, and it kind of introduces the what eventual like dynamicness of his character. Um, and uh, I need to think about everything that happens in this movie. Um, and I'm gonna be kind of going all over the place here. But like back on Earth, I love the thing between Wanda and Vision. I love that and how they fight off the other ones. I think that's also really cool. And how just Cap comes in is freaking awesome. I remember that in the theater just got the audience hyped. Um, and just how every character fights in that scene was awesome. And and like how they just go home. I love that reference, by the way. And eventually how they like form their plan. Um, and like and like that dialogue with Rhodey is super super cool. I love that bit. Um, and then on top of that, there is the bit about like just how like the fact that General Ross says they're like criminals and whatever, and it's just like no, f you, basically, is really really cool, and I like that a lot. Um, and also the way that Rhodey's just like, are you having second thoughts? Like looking at the leg, like not anymore. I love that bit. That's a nice bit of characterization for Rhodey after Civil War. Um, So then, Doctor Strange and everyone else, they arrive on Thanos, or not Thanos. They arrive on Titan. Sorry, they arrive on Titan, and everyone else, and eventually they meet the Guardians. That entire encounter is absolutely hilarious, and I love the dialogue bits between Doctor Strange and such. Uh, so then that little bit happens, and then. Yeah. And at some point they go to Wakanda and like that bit with Black Panther is awesome. I love that. Um, I have not watched the movie in a while. I need to go back and rewatch it again. Uh, all the movies in my top 10, I think actually. Uh, um, we'll finish up Nita Valier first, I think. So going back to Nita Valier, I love the dialogue between Dimitri. I think his character is actually quite interesting and just how like hopeless he is and like actually sad that he gave into Thanos. I think is like actually really really powerful. Um, and I really really like that part. Um, sorry, I was thinking about something else for a second. Um, and then I love that part. And then the way they go about forging the hammer and the fact the axe, sorry, and the fact that like he just has to like do it himself. Like I think that's one of the coolest moments in the whole film is just when like he bears the heat himself. I think that's like crazy awesome, and I love that. And then when I think just the fact that, like, Groot is the coolest hero ever and, like, helps, like, restore the thing. By the way, I love the gag with him in the console. I think it's hilarious. But, like, the way that he helped make the hammer, I love that. That's awesome. Um, and so eventually we start the battle on Earth, and every one of the heroes has like completely awesome action, and the way they have to like let down the shields is also awesome. I love like Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster suit. That's epic. That makes for some really cool things. Black Panther has some epic action scenes. So does Cap with his shield and like get this man a shield. I love that line. Um, and then we're gonna cut, and also just like I'm really going out of order here, but like the way that like like they just seem to be losing, but then just Thor comes in and just like annihilates everybody is awesome, and all the dialogue like that is really really funny, and I love it a lot. Uh, and I think that, then cut back to when Thanos comes to Titan, and oh my god, I forgot about Vormir. Vormir first. Vormir is like one of the best, is like second best scene in the movie. For reasons I already explained with the Endgame, but like the way this builds on like the father daughter relationship, and like the fact you can see Thanos crying is like fucking insane. And because like Gamora is like the one thing that he ever loved, and I love like the idea of the Soul Stone and the fact that it was Red Skull. I didn't even talk about that. I talked about Endgame. The fact that that was Red Skull blew my mind. Um and I loved that aspect of it, of how like he managed to guard one because he was like the will of another. I thought that was very interesting. Um, um, and then Thanos gets the Soul Stone. Like I love that scene. It's so like it's insane. And it does so much to characterize Thanos very deeply. And then we finally get him arriving on Titan, and like his conversation with Doctor Strange is absolutely awesome because I think it's like um him basically like we basically that scene is amazing because it really characterizes so many of uh along with the scene where he talks to Gamora, like both of those scenes like characterize Thanos as a villain and just make him like the best villain ever. And like um oh my god, what was that? It's like one of my favorite ones. It's like where what is it? I remember what it was. It was the hardest choices require the strongest wills. Like, man, that's such a good quote because that basically sums up his his character and like what he believes is correct and what it takes the skill to do what he's doing, like in one sentence, essentially. Um, and oh my God, like the well executed plan between them is like it actually like works really well. But then Star-Lord F's it up because man, even that's still like a good character moment too because he gets like mad because he loves Gamora. Which like plays on something that was already established earlier in the movie. Um, and also it contributes to that tragedy element, which is just like so good. Um, it's just there's just like and then basically how he just crushes them after that is just like crazy. Um, then we get to the final bit on Earth where like Thor is just destroying everybody. And then after that, something happens in between that. I don't quite remember what it is. But just go ahead and talk about like Thanos getting the time stone. Like Thanos, the fact that that Strange gives him the time stone, like represents two things. Number one, it moves the plot along in ways that you don't even know until you've actually seen Endgame and you understand the correlation between the two movies. And also like the the fact that like it's a very dynamicness to Strange's character because it seems like at the time that he does it because like uh to save Iron Man and Spider-Man over the time zone. It's like this is the only way. I love that. It's just like one to go, and then just Star Lord's like desperate attempt to get him. And it's like, did we just lose? Like, man, that's really good. I love that. And then um, Thanos like uh, comes to Earth, and he basically just wrecks everybody, like every single person, like hopelessly. Um, and even as like Scarlet and then like that final bit, that struggle between like Scarlet Witch and Vision to like destroy the minds of Vision and want to because she loves him, and Thanos just slowly like approaches and then he like finally destroys the Mind Stone, like, and you think like, oh my God, he can't win because like, oh, everything is like done for, like, then he just like like understand the pain. That's another great line because it references earlier in the movie. It's already established his sadness might go more like I lost more today than you could know, but he would just go on. But we just go on, which is, oh my God, it's so like every little detail. This is why this is my favorite film of all time. Um, and um, and then just that last bit at the end where he's just like uh where he just like uses the time stone to rewind and then Thor just like the amount of like fucking force is crazy. He's about to snap, but then Thor comes in and like kills him. But then he's like, you should have gone for that. Snap. And like man, the cultural significance of that is like that thing is a cultural icon. Like even like almost 5 years later, like they still uh they let's see 6 years. Wait, no, wait, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Holy crap! It's been almost 6 years since Infinity War came out. Um, which like it is just nuts. It's literally just nuts. Um, because like you don't think that it's going to happen, but then it just does. And no one was thinking that like they would do that. Like surely it's going to have an outcome, which is what everyone was thinking when they're in the theaters. And that's the mastery of the tragedy aspect of Infinity War is like no one saw it coming and like the dark tone after dark tone and like everyone losing is just like it's this continual spiraling downward from the first scene of the movie where it sets up that tone just downward and it doesn't like go up at all. And the fact that no one expected it to happen just makes it even better. Um and it's honestly like one of the best movie scenes of all time. The snap. And the cultural significance of it is innumerable. Um, and then like the tragic like gradual deaths and how we go back to Titan and like Doc Strange's dialogue like we're in the end game now, like it was the only way, like the way that you understand that better after watching Endgame is crazy, and that's why I think Endgame is such a good follow-up to Infinity War and judge from that aspect. Um, and just like Spider-Man's bit where he's just like Mr. Stark, like I don't want to go, please. That's so emotional. And obviously a giant meme, but it's just like in the movie itself is like crazy, like emotional, and then he just goes, and this Iron Man is just just like done. It's like crazy. Excuse me. Uh, and then just like all the different like characters on Earth die too, and Cap is just like, oh God, and it's like, man, and then it just cuts to like Thanos like on the planet, um, and his theme just plays Torch, and then it just like ends, and that's it, and oh, oh, like there are a few things I love like more than Infinity War itself. Like not even just movies. I'm talking about like anything in general. There are a few things I love more than Infinity War. Like it is easily my favorite film of all time. And if you made it all the way through this video, which is an hour and 7 minutes as I'm recording this, thank you very much for watching. And this has been the conclusion of the top 20 movies, the TV shows I'll finish soon. Um, but this has been the conclusion of my top 20 movies. If you made it through all the way through this long video, again, you have my thanks. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and bye.